When someone disrespects you, the first response your pride demands is to speak, to react, to defend, but silence. Silence holds more power than words ever can. You see, when you choose to stay quiet after disrespect, you do something far greater than react. You rise above. People expect noise. They expect anger. They expect a storm of words, accusations, arguments. But when you remain still, when you refuse to let disrespect pull you into the pit of reaction, you leave them powerless. Your silence confuses them. Your silence speaks of strength, of restraint, of dignity. Staying quiet doesn't mean you accept disrespect. It doesn't mean you are weak. It means you understand that every battle isn't worth fighting. It means you know that their words cannot define your worth. It means you value your peace more than proving a point. Understand this. Those who throw disrespect your way are often loud because they are empty. Their insults are reflections of their own struggles, their own insecurities, their own weakness. They provoke because they want a reaction, and when you don't give it to them, they lose. Quietness is control. It's the ability to master your emotions. It's standing so still that they can't touch you, can't drag you down to their level. In that silence, you maintain your power. In that silence, they reveal themselves while you reveal nothing. Yes, it's tempting to answer back, to defend your name, to make your position clear. But the truth is, some situations deserve nothing but your silence. Silence forces people to sit with their own actions, their own words. And trust me, nothing is heavier than the weight of self-reflection when you're left alone with your behavior. Let them talk. Let them disrespect. Let them show the world who they are. You stay quiet. You stay focused. You stay in control, because sometimes the loudest statement you can make is to say absolutely nothing. When someone disrespects you, the first instinct for many is to speak up, defend themselves, or retaliate. But staying quiet in that moment reveals something far more powerful than any words ever could. It reveals your inner strength. Silence, often misunderstood as weakness, is one of the most courageous and self-controlled responses a person can offer in the face of disrespect. It requires far more strength to stay calm and composed when your pride is wounded than it does to lash out in anger or frustration. Strength is not always found in loud words or visible actions. Sometimes it is found in stillness, in the ability to pause, to breathe, and to remain unmoved by the noise around you. When someone disrespects you and you choose not to engage, you're demonstrating that your emotions do not control you, you control them. That kind of discipline is rare, and it sets you apart from those who are quick to anger or easily provoked. People often confuse silence with submission, as if saying nothing means you accept being mistreated. But silence can be a shield, a form of quiet defiance that shows you will not allow someone else's behavior to dictate your peace. When you remain silent, you're not avoiding confrontation out of fear, you're choosing peace out of wisdom. You recognize that reacting impulsively can drag you down to the same level as the one who insulted you. Instead, your quietness communicates a clear message. Your words do not define me. I know who I am. Strength through silence is about valuing your self-respect over temporary satisfaction. It's easy to throw back insults, to get into heated arguments, to raise your voice. But often, those reactions only lead to regret. They escalate situations, damage reputations, and rob you of your dignity. Silence, on the other hand, preserves your integrity. It allows you to walk away with your head held high, knowing you didn't stoop to someone else's level. There's an undeniable power in not reacting. It unsettles people. It confuses those who expect to get a rise out of you. They anticipate anger, they crave attention, they want to drag you into their negativity. But when you refuse to engage, you strip them of the control they hope to gain. You leave them with their own words, their own behavior, while you remain untouched, composed, and focused. Strength through silence is not passive, it's intentional. It's the ability to stand your ground without uttering a single word. You know your worth. You understand that your time and energy are valuable, and that wasting them on people who do not respect you is beneath you. True strength is recognizing that disrespect is often a reflection of the other person's character, not yours, and staying quiet protects you from absorbing their negativity. It also shows self-awareness. In the heat of the moment, emotions can cloud judgment. Words spoken in anger can't be taken back, but silence gives you the space to think, to process, to decide the best way forward without being driven by impulse. That pause, that restraint, is a mark of strength many lack. In the end, silence after disrespect is a powerful statement in itself. It declares that your peace is not up for negotiation, that your self-control is stronger than their provocation, and that you will never let someone else's disrespect shake the foundation of your character. Remaining quiet is not weakness, it is the highest form of discipline, dignity, and inner power. When you react to disrespect, you are, in many ways, handing over your power to the person who insulted or belittled you. It might not seem that way in the moment because reacting feels like standing up for yourself, but often your response is exactly what the other person is hoping for. Disrespect is rarely about the words themselves. It's about provoking an emotional reaction, pulling you into their negativity, and disrupting your peace. The moment you answer back with anger, frustration, or defensiveness, you shift the control from yourself to them. True strength lies in keeping your composure, in understanding that not every situation deserves your words or your energy. When someone disrespects you, their goal is often to test your boundaries, to provoke a reaction that validates their own insecurities or frustrations. If you rise to that bait, you fall into the trap they've set. You allow them to control your mood, your words, and your state of mind. But when you stay quiet, when you choose not to respond, you maintain control over the situation and, more importantly, over yourself. Many people misunderstand silence as weakness, but it's actually a conscious decision to protect your energy. You decide in that moment that their behavior is not worth disturbing your peace. You demonstrate emotional maturity by refusing to be dragged into unnecessary conflict. It's a form of silent resistance that speaks volumes. You refuse to let their disrespect manipulate your emotions, showing that you are in charge of your reactions, not them. There's a deeper psychological dynamic at play when someone disrespects you. People who are insecure, envious, or frustrated often lash out at others to project their inner turmoil. Their disrespect is not truly about you, it's about them. But when you react angrily, you unintentionally validate their feelings. You confirm that their words have the power to unsettle you. On the other hand, silence denies them that victory. It communicates that their words hold no weight, that you are unshaken by their attempts to provoke you. Maintaining silence also reflects confidence. Confident individuals do not need to prove themselves to anyone. They know who they are, and they understand that the opinions of disrespectful people are irrelevant. Reacting to disrespect implies that you need to defend your worth, but when you stay quiet, you convey that your value is unquestionable regardless of what others say. You hold your head high, knowing that your character speaks louder than any insult ever could. Choosing silence after disrespect is not about suppressing your feelings or ignoring mistreatment indefinitely. It's about strategic self-control. Sometimes addressing disrespect is necessary, but the most impactful responses often come after careful thought, not in the heat of the moment. Immediate reactions are impulsive and driven by emotion, but silence gives you time to assess whether the situation even deserves your attention. In most cases, it doesn't. When you give in to the urge to react, you become entangled in negativity, wasting time and energy that could be better spent on your growth, goals, and peace of mind. But silence allows you to rise above, to maintain your focus, and to demonstrate that no one has the power to pull you away from your purpose. The ability to stay quiet after disrespect is not a sign of weakness, it's the ultimate display of self-mastery. You keep your power, your dignity, and your peace intact by refusing to let someone else's negativity dictate your behavior. Your silence becomes your strength, and your restraint becomes your victory. When someone disrespects you, they often expect an immediate reaction. They are prepared for anger, ready for confrontation, and eager to watch you lose control. Disrespect is designed to trigger your emotions, to disrupt your peace, and to drag you into unnecessary conflict. But when you respond with silence, you shift the entire dynamic. Your quietness confuses them, catches them off guard, and unsettles their expectations. They anticipated noise instead, you gave them nothing. And that silence speaks louder than any words ever could. People thrive on reactions. When they insult you, criticize you, or belittle you, their goal is often to feel powerful by provoking a response. They want to see you flustered, defensive, or angry because your reaction validates their behavior. But when you stay quiet, you deny them that satisfaction. You break the cycle they tried to create. Instead of being pulled into their negativity, you stand still, unshaken, and that confuses them more than any angry comeback. Your silence forces them to question themselves. They begin to wonder why their words didn't affect you, why you didn't argue, why you didn't defend yourself. In their confusion, they often expose their own insecurities. They might repeat themselves, escalate their behavior, or show their frustration because your calmness makes them uncomfortable. They expected to have control over your emotions, but your silence reveals that they never had that power. Remaining quiet after disrespect also sends a clear, unspoken message you are above their behavior. You are not on the same level as those who choose to insult and provoke. Your silence creates distance between you and their negativity, a line they cannot cross. It tells them without words that their attempts to diminish you have failed. It shows them that their disrespect is insignificant to someone who knows their worth. There is also a psychological strength that comes with silence. It requires emotional intelligence to remain quiet when every part of you wants to speak, defend, or retaliate. It takes discipline to choose calm over chaos, especially when your pride is tested. But when you master that silence, you send a powerful signal to those around you that you are in complete control of your mind, your emotions, and your reactions. Your silence creates uncertainty. It leaves them wondering what you're thinking, what you'll do next, and why you didn't respond the way they expected. That uncertainty often makes them more uncomfortable than any argument would. It places you in a position of quiet authority, where your presence alone demands respect, even if your words are few. Many people misunderstand silence, believing that staying quiet means avoiding conflict or backing down. But true silence after disrespect is not avoidance, it's calculated. It's recognizing that some situations are not worth your words, that reacting would only lower you to their level. You stay quiet because you value your peace over petty exchanges. You stay quiet because your self-respect doesn't depend on their approval or their insults. In the end, silence disrupts their expectations and protects your dignity. It unsettles those who try to provoke you and leaves them wrestling with their own words and actions. By refusing to engage, you show that your composure cannot be broken by disrespect. Your quietness becomes your defense, your power, and your statement, all without uttering a single word. Not every battle deserves your energy. One of the most valuable lessons in life is understanding where to invest your time, your emotions, and your words. Disrespect often tempts you to react, to defend, to argue, but the reality is, not every moment of disrespect is worth stepping into the arena for. There is great wisdom in recognizing which battles matter and which ones are simply distractions meant to pull you away from your peace and purpose. When someone disrespects you, your first instinct might be to fight back, to correct them, to stand up for yourself. But if you pause for a moment and really evaluate the situation, you will often find that their disrespect says more about them than it does about you. Their behavior is a reflection of their frustration, insecurity, or ignorance. It's not a measure of your worth. Knowing this allows you to conserve your energy for the things that truly matter rather than wasting it on proving a point to people who may never see your value. Every time you react to disrespect, you are choosing to step into a space of negativity, to engage in conflict that may lead nowhere. Some people disrespect others not because they have a valid reason, but simply because they crave attention, validation, or power. They know that provoking you forces you to focus on them, to drain your energy in arguments or heated exchanges. When you refuse to react, you break that cycle. You conserve your energy for your own growth, your own peace, and your own success. Your energy is one of your most valuable resources. Where you direct it shapes your emotions, your mindset, and your future. Engaging in every minor disagreement, every insult, every act of disrespect only depletes your energy reserves. It distracts you from your goals, clouds your thinking, and keeps you locked in a cycle of negativity. But when you choose silence, when you walk away from unnecessary battles, you are protecting your most precious resource, your inner peace. There's also a sense of dignity that comes with choosing your battles wisely. You show maturity and self-respect when you decide that not every disrespectful comment deserves your attention. It takes real strength to turn away from provocation, to refuse to lower yourself to someone else's level. That restraint reflects a deep understanding of your own value and a clear vision of where your energy should be spent. Think of it this way: you wouldn't stop on your path to success to argue with every person who shouts at you from the sidelines. You wouldn't abandon your peace of mind to chase after every insult. Life is filled with moments where people will try to pull you off course with their negativity. The question is, will you let them? Or will you stay focused on your journey, preserving your energy for the battles that truly matter, the ones that help you grow, protect your well-being, and advance your purpose? Choosing not to react is not about weakness. It's about wisdom. It's about understanding that some people want nothing more than to see you lose control, to see you waste your words and energy proving a point that holds no value. By walking away, by staying quiet, you're not surrendering, you're conserving your energy for the moments that actually count. Your peace, your time, and your energy are too valuable to waste on people who thrive on disrespect. Silence allows you to rise above the chaos, stay focused on your priorities, and engage only in the battles that truly deserve your strength and your voice. When someone disrespects you, it often feels personal, like an attack on your character, your worth, or your identity. But the reality is, disrespect says far more about the person delivering it than it ever does about the person receiving it. Their words, their tone, their attitude, these are reflections of their own internal state, their frustrations, their insecurities, and their lack of self-awareness. Once you understand this, it becomes easier to stay quiet, to refuse to react, and to protect your peace. Disrespect is a mirror, but not the kind you hold up to yourself. It's the kind the other person unknowingly holds up to reveal who they are on the inside. Someone who is secure, content, and at peace rarely feels the need to belittle others. They have no desire to insult, provoke, or tear someone down. But those who carry anger, jealousy, or bitterness often project it outward, using disrespect as a weapon to mask their own unresolved issues. When you internalize that truth, you begin to see disrespect for what it really is, a reflection of their weakness, not your own. Their words may be sharp, their tone may be harsh, but those things come from their own emotional struggles, not because there is anything lacking in you. You gain the ability to detach your identity from their behavior. You no longer feel the need to prove your worth to them because you know their disrespect isn't rooted in truth, it's rooted in their own flaws. This perspective allows you to maintain your dignity. You don't have to lower yourself to their level or engage in pointless arguments to defend your name. You understand that their disrespect doesn't define your value. What defines your value is your integrity, your self-awareness, and your ability to stay grounded in who you are, regardless of how others choose to treat you. Remaining quiet after disrespect becomes easier when you remind yourself that their words are simply noise, fueled by emotions they have not learned to control. It's often a defense mechanism, a way to push their negativity onto others because carrying it alone is too heavy for them. But you don't have to accept what they're offering. You have the power to reject their negativity by staying silent, by walking away, by holding on to your peace. It's important to remember that disrespectful people often want a reaction. They want to know they've gotten under your skin. They crave the satisfaction of seeing you flustered, angry, or upset because it makes them feel powerful, even if only temporarily. But when you stay quiet, when you offer no reaction, you take that power away. You show them that your peace is not easily disturbed, that your self-worth cannot be shaken by their attempts to tear you down. Choosing silence is not a sign of weakness. It's a declaration that you refuse to let someone else's brokenness dictate your emotion. You know your worth, and it's not up for debate. Their disrespect is a window into their character, their struggles, their insecurities. Your silence, on the other hand, is a reflection of your strength, your self-control, and your unwavering belief in your own value. In the end, people reveal themselves through their words and actions, especially when they choose to disrespect others. Let them expose who they are. You don't have to respond. Your silence says everything. It communicates that you see their disrespect for what it is, a reflection of their character, not yours, and you have no intention of letting it disturb the peace you've built within yourself. Silence after disrespect does more than protect your peace. It forces the person who disrespected you to face themselves. In the absence of your reaction, they are left alone with their words, their behavior, and the consequences of their actions. Most people speak or act disrespectfully in the heat of emotion, not always fully aware of how damaging or revealing their behavior is. They expect you to react immediately, to argue, to lash out, because that distraction allows them to avoid reflecting on what they've done. But when you stay quiet, that distraction is removed, and they are left with nothing but their own behavior to analyze. Human nature often craves validation, even in negative situations. When someone insults you, belittles you, or disrespects you, they expect to be met with resistance because it allows them to justify their own actions. Your anger or retaliation becomes their excuse for their poor behavior. But silence removes that excuse. Without your reaction, they are forced to sit with the raw reality of their words and actions, often leading them to an uncomfortable but necessary moment of self-reflection. When you stay quiet after disrespect, you take away the fuel they need to keep the fire burning. You deny them the satisfaction of seeing you lose control, and more importantly, you deny them the opportunity to shift blame onto you. They cannot accuse you of being disrespectful in return. They cannot hide behind the narrative that you deserved their words. Your silence leaves them exposed, standing in their own disrespect with no defense and no distraction. It's in those quiet moments, after the noise of their insults has faded and your silence lingers, that they often begin to question themselves. They replay the situation, hearing their own words echo in their mind without your voice interrupting it. That uncomfortable silence grows louder the more they sit with it, sometimes leading to guilt, embarrassment, or even regret. While not everyone will admit their fault, many will feel the weight of their own disrespect once your silence makes them confront it. Silence also disrupts their control. People who disrespect others often do so to assert dominance, to test boundaries, or to provoke a loss of control. When you don't react, they lose that sense of control. They expected you to break, to shout, to argue, to crumble under their words. But your silence sends a clear message. You are unshaken, composed, and beyond their influence. That realization can be more powerful than any verbal comeback. In many ways, your silence becomes a mirror. They are forced to look at themselves, their insecurities, their anger, and their behavior reflected back at them. For some, this is deeply unsettling because facing their own flaws requires vulnerability. But that discomfort is often necessary for growth. You, choosing not to engage, unknowingly create an environment where they have to face the reality of their own character. Over time, people remember how they made others feel, but they also remember how they felt after their own actions. If their disrespect was met with your anger, they can blame the situation. But if their disrespect was met with your silence, they have no one to point fingers at. It becomes a personal moment of introspection, a moment where they're left to wonder why you didn't react, why their words had no power over you, and what that reveals about them. By staying quiet after disrespect, you're not only protecting your peace, you're offering the other person an unexpected opportunity for self-reflection. Whether they choose to take that opportunity or not is beyond your control, but your silence plants the seed. It forces them to confront themselves, to sit with the weight of their own actions, and to realize that true strength is often found in restraint, not reaction.